final boarding call for all remaining passengers. Please now make your way to the gate. The podcast is about to begin.
Welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk About Travel. I can't believe it's been a week since the last one. Life is just going so fast at the moment. January, February is just such a busy time in the travel industry. So today I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Isla Wilson from P&O Cruises. Isla is the Partnership Development Manager for Scotland and Northern Ireland, which is a big area.
It is a massive area. 2 countries.
Yes, and for one person.
I know.
Yeah, so welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And it's actually the first time I've met Isla.
Yes.
We have spoken multiple times on the phone, but lovely to meet you face to face.
Absolutely, same.
And the nice thing is, Isla's an Ayrshire girl.
I am. I've a recent addition to the Ayrshire clan.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. It's a beautiful part of the world. And as soon as I found my little place on the sea, I couldn't get away from it. It's beautiful.
Oh, great. So, yeah, Ayrshire girls on tour. So
That's
happy
it.
days. So welcome to the show. And looking forward to hearing all about P&O Cruises.
Mm-hmm.
P&O is a very, well-known household name. So lovely product to work with. But before we hear all about that, I'm very aware my bango is jingling today, so I'm just going to take it off and not annoy the listeners. Let's learn a little bit about Isla and how you came to be sitting in a podcast studio in Sandyford in Ayrshire on a cold Monday afternoon.
Sometimes you ask yourself those questions, don't you? I think, I guess my travel story, if you like, started when I turned 21, and my grandparents had left me a little bit of cash and said, Isla, we want you to have this money. They'd built up over the years and said, we want you to go away and get married or buy a house or do something grown up. And I went, can I travel? And they went, oh, okay, because it wasn't as, such a thing. I said, I'm going to go backpacking around Europe on my own. And everyone went, no, you won't.
You're not.
No, you won't. Because I was the girl who had 20 suitcases going to Tenerife, wherever it was. And there's no way you're going with one backpack around. And I'm taking it. So off I went. I bought the cutest backpack you've ever seen. I've still bought it. And I bought all my stuff and I got the train pass for a month and off I went. It taught me how to enjoy my own company, how to have a meal in a restaurant on my own, and just fall in love with the world out there and the people you can meet. And I came home and I said, do you know, I really want to travel. How can I do it? I've spent all my money now. And so I Googled the best way to work and travel and cruise ships came up. So I went, okay. So it was before Zoom and Teams and all that sort of stuff. On Skype, I did an interview with Princess Cruises and in my pyjamas because it was back in those, you didn't think it was such a thing. And I was doing my interview and I came from the bar industry. So I said, I'll go and apply and be a bartender. So off I went and I got the interview through and they said, yep, you've got the job. So, okay, great. So I phoned my mum and I said, Mum, I've done something crazy. And she was like, what have you done now? So I applied to work in a cruise ship. And she was like, well, maybe we should talk about it. I said, I've got it. I've got the job, Mum. And
I'm doing it.
And she was like, well, it's 6 months of your life, Isla. You'll regret it if you don't try it. So I left my job, I left my man, I left my house, and I went on a cruise ship for 6 months and came back 11 years later.
Love it. And there'll be a lot of stories to tell from the 11 years at sea.
So many. I grew up in the cruise industry and fell in love with being at sea and the way of travel that is cruising, and it's just been an amazing part of my life.
So how are you coping now that you're on dry land?
On land life. People always say, does the ground wobble now that you're back? And I never really had that experience, but it's been a weird adjustment into life because when you work on cruises, you work for days and days and days, months at a time. I was doing between 6 to 9 months at a time straight every day. And so it's just normal, but you're around people all the time. Your community's there all the time. So to come home and not have people as soon as you walk out your room all around you to
having to cook your own dinner,
have to pick up your own
do your own
towels
laundry
and do your own washing and do your own dishes. I'm not a fan of that part.
No.
I have to say sometimes my towels still sit in the bathroom floor for too long. It's a part of it. So I do miss that part of life where of course you're catered for and looked after, but I enjoy cooking my own food now and again, not always,
yeah.
But now and again, and being able to, food on ships is such a massive part of the experience, but sometimes you do just want like
beans on toast,
mm-hmm. A cheesy beano, something like that, a bowl of cereal, just toast on its own, just the little things, a bacon sandwich, or some of the Scottish favourites, a bit of square sausage, a square sausage and tax gun that you miss when you're away. And so being able to just choose that and it's been a massive part, and see my family is also the other half, right?
Yeah.
I think when you're away, I came home, when I came back off of ships, I was away from, I came home, I was like, I've got no job, I've got no house, and I've got, like, what do I do with myself?
Start your life again,
I'm
really.
I'm homeless and jobless. You're not really, but you are, but you're not. And I hadn't built up a credit rating, so I couldn't get a house to rent, and so
or a mobile phone contract,
right, and all this sort of stuff. So it was readjusting to that and working out what I wanted to do, because I didn't at the time plan to come into P&O Cruises. That wasn't my original. I thought, I'm leaving the cruise industry. You know, I don't know what I want to do with my life, but I'm going to come home and it's just to build my own community and life again. So I've managed to buy my house. I've got my friendship group back in more constant communication, which is amazing, and spend time with them, see my family. You know, my grandparents are older now, so I get to spend a bit of time with them. I have a half brother and sister that are in Fife, being able to get a bit of time with them now that they're kind of adults themselves, and that's just been an amazing part of coming home, I think.
But 11 years at sea, I mean, that's just, you'll have literally seen the world multiple times.
Yep.
So, and the job now that you're doing with P&O Cruises, which is basically working with the travel trade to build the brand, it's a perfect combination. So,
you know, it's been amazing, and it wasn't something I'd planned on doing, but when the role came up and I spoke with my boss, and I really have to say I love my team. Like the regional team are just fab and have been amazing at showing me how to get into this role. But it's just about connections and meeting people and talking about the industry I love. Like, I could do that for days.
It's a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
And it's such a great product. P&O Cruises for me was my very first introduction to cruising. So my first cruise, I want to say it was like 35 years ago, maybe more actually, because I am showing my age. And it was a P&O ship called the Sea Princess, which then went on to be the Victoria, which I believe is now probably Razor Blade somewhere in a beach in Sri Lanka or somewhere. But that was, for me, my first introduction to the world of cruise.
Fab.
And if you go back 35 years ago, it still was so in its infancy in the UK. People cruised for their retirement.
Yes.
People who were really wealthy cruised. It wasn't for the way it is now, the mass market. And it's just been wonderful to watch that transition over the years, that cruising has now become basically affordable for everybody.
I agree.
But P&O is still... It's still got that kind of tradition attached to it, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
So primarily, let's just talk about the company. It's primarily an ex-UK product.
Yes. Yeah. It's a British brand, and so we do talk about that a lot in the sense of, you know, you don't have to change your you don't need an adapter. You can take your plugs when you go. You're using your money from home when you're on board.
Sterling on board.
Sterling on board. It's an easy introduction to cruise. I always say we're a great first cruise line, because if you're a bit nervous about the cruise world and what that means and what do all the bits and bobs do, it's a great introduction to be like, okay, it's a little bit of home if you're off visiting these places when you come back, and you can get your fish and chips on the open deck if you want, your steak pie, you know, your food's not scary as it can be for some people who are maybe new to travelling further out. They get a bit nervous about the food that they're going to see in different countries, and you're going to have something you can eat, but there's still all these other amazing choices of things that are a little bit more exotic if you want to try them on board. You get a bit of everything.
And I think, you said, for people who have never cruised before, then it's a great introduction.
Absolutely.
But what my experience in travel is that once people have cruised with P&O, they become very loyal to the brand.
They do.
Because what's not to love?
100%.
Yeah.
I think that you don't understand the value of cruising until you've done it. You can go to the most amazing all-inclusive resorts in the world, but it's just a different experience to be on a cruise. When you go to a show in a theatre, it's a Broadway style show. You'll get involved in parts of cruising that you don't think you would do at home. I love bingo on a cruise. I'm all about a bingo. I'm not a massive bingo person at home. I mean, I'll go a bit of bongos bingo, but
I'm exactly the same. Right? It's not something I would do on land, but
on a cruise, all about it.
Or even go to a trivia, a quiz. That's not really something I would do here, but love a trivia on board a cruise.
People get real into trivia.
Oh, don't they
trivia
just?
Rage is real.
Yes,
it's real. And the entertainment staff do so well, to navigate all that. But it's and they'd make it fun. It's not just like a pub quiz. It's game show interactive, and I love all a bit of that. Getting involved, and you can do as much or as little as you want on the cruise. But it's a great product to be able to do that and enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's great for families.
That's true.
So P&O are one of the very few companies that offer free child spaces.
We do. We do quite often do the free uppers, or we do discounted uppers and things like that. And it's generational cruising is massive right now. I think it's one of our largest areas of growth. It's one of those things where people want to travel from the grandparents down to the new kids, and you're getting these children who are falling in love with cruising so early on, and then they become cruisers as they grow up. And the product is got that whole itinerary for kids. You know, there's a whole kids club. They have their own schedule. Once they're away with their friends they've made on the cruise, you don't see them. They're away having the great time, and being able to introduce different parts of the product. You know, one of the partnerships we have is with Aardman, and so the Wallace and Gromit of it all. It's so much fun, but kids today don't really know who Wallace and Gromit are, but their parents do. So when they meet these amazing characters like on board,
it's more for the adults,
right? They come and they tell their mum and dad, "I've met Wallace and Gromit and Sean the sheep," and they're like, oh, and it's a great nostalgic moment for them to bond and have that with, and it's just a beautiful moment to see the family interaction. And I think you don't always think cruising's the product for a family, but it really is.
It absolutely is. Yeah. I mean, I always say that to my clients, that once your kids are on board, you're going to have to bribe them to come and have dinner with you, because they're not going to want to eat dinner with you. That's far too uncool.
Absolutely, they're pals.
And it's a really safe environment for them as well.
Yes.
And like you hit the nail on the head, I think getting kids involved in cruising, it means when they come to being, you know, young adults, it's the holiday they're going to choose as well, because they can see all the things that it covers. Yeah. And again, you've mentioned multi-generational holidays. That's one of the biggest growth areas that we've seen in our business. Yeah. You know, people are thinking of retirement holidays, you know, special birthdays, and they want to take the kids, the grandkids, great-grandkids. I love a multi-generational booking. I'm not going to lie.
Well, of course, you get all the family ones.
I know.
It's true, but I also think that it's all about experience now, isn't it? It's not about as much what you're leaving to your kids. It's about what can you do to have that experience and time with them now.
Make memories.
And create those memories together. And to be able to do that is such a special thing, to have these core memories in together. And you know, one of the jokes they say on cruises, and I don't know if you know this one, but the older generation refer to it as being part of the ski club. The Spending the Kids Inheritance Club, you know, where they all come together. And you know, but I love that. Like, I think there's very few people who would not be like, I want my parents and my grandparents to go out and have the best life and have those experiences together and those memories to take away. And so I think it's a great opportunity to do that.
And so primarily the ships, most of them leave out of Southampton, so we're talking that's what we talk about ex-UK cruising, so people that don't like flying, absolute tick box. But over the last number of years, it's kind of moved a little bit into the fly cruise industry, because again they've seen a market where you can fly to the sunshine rather than having to do that Bay of Biscay.
Absolutely.
By the way, I've never had a rough Bay of Biscay crossing, so
I've not either.
No, I think people kid on that it's rough.
I think sometimes it's in your head, but top tips from being on board, if you do feel it a little bit: green apples. Green apples,
okay.
Settle your stomach. Ginger ale is quite a well-known
brandy
one.
I always thought was a good one, but maybe
you got to balance yourself out. You know, if the alcohol makes you go one way and the ship makes you go the other way, you're upright. But no, it's that, and always have something in your stomach, because then there's nothing moving around.
Yeah, right, okay. There you go. Well, top tips first. Because let's be absolutely realistic and be real about it. People do get seasick, but you don't have to be seasick. There's things you can do to combat it.
Absolutely. So, and they're floating cities. They don't move that much.
No. And well, back in the day when I cruised, they did, because they were older ships. But now the ships are built, you know, with the Bay of Biscay in mind,
and stabilisers.
And I think also, if you think about years ago, ships, the best suites on the ship used to be down in the bowels of the ship, because if you think about a ship moving, but nowadays if you look, the top suites are at the top, because the movement is
it's a lot less, and they want that view, right? You want to be up out the way and have that beautiful view to see out into the horizon, because there's nothing better than the ocean views. I completely agree with you. I think you're right, and I think the ex-UK stuff is massive for us. Like if you look at our Norwegian Fjords cruise, and that's such a massive product that's just everybody loves it. And who would have thought of, like, how many years ago that the Norwegian Fjords was a thing, but now it's so popular, and you can do that down from Southampton, and with the you know, your select price, you can get your coach down, which I've still not done it, but it's on my list. I want to go at 2 a.m. into Glasgow, get that coach, sit down and right onto the ship.
Well, here's something you'll not know about me, but back in the day when P&O started doing these select cruises with the coach included, they had nobody in Scotland, so I used to go at 2 o'clock in the morning with a clipboard to Buchanan Street bus station and see the ships off.
That's
not as my role as a travel agent, as a P&O representative. It was horrible. because I didn't get to go on the cruise. All I
just had
did
to do
was
the hard bit.
have a fabulous time and tick them off.
Oh, bless you.
So yeah, something you didn't know about me.
No, there you go. That's so funny. Yeah, no, I think it's such an amazing opportunity to be able to do that, coach, though, because the holiday starts then, right? You put the bags on, you don't have to worry about it.
I know.
You're all in together, sleep in your bus, go off in a few places, and you get straight on the ship, nice and easy. Nice and easy.
No, it's cruising for me, that's what I always choose from on holiday.
Yeah.
I'm a massive cruiser, and I put that down thanks to P&O for getting me involved in cruising all these years ago.
Well, P&O thanks you for your help with, with all these things.
Do you know, there's something so lovely about going in a P&O ship, because there's something we've talked about, it's home from home.
Yeah.
There's always going
That's
to be, when you go in some of the American ships, for example, the entertainment is very geared around the Americans.
Yes.
And you go to the comedy show. Mm-hmm. I don't find American comedy shows that funny. Do you know, it's a different sense of humour.
It's a different sense of humour, you're right.
And vice versa. So I would definitely go to a comedy show on board a P&O.
It's because they tailor it. They tailor it to the British market. So the entertainment is going to be. I think the only other the similarities are as in Australia have a similar sort of vibe in that sense. But it's definitely tailored to that kind of market. And you're right, American humour is different, and there's nothing wrong with that. And some of them are amazing.
They don't find us funny. So
no, you just have to go for what's right. And so that's why we do primarily advertising. We look for our clientele within the UK market, and as much as we do have we say we're a marketplace leader, we do have a large proportion of the UK market in cruise. I think that there's so much more, and so many people who haven't tried cruising within this market that we've just tapped the surface.
I know.
And especially up here in the north, there's so many people that I just want to drag along and come and have this amazing experience. And I think the bus and the travel down Southampton does scare people, so the fly cruise has been massive, and it's really a big push for me as the regional cruising. I think that the opportunity...
Well, we need to get behind it, because we've moaned about it. Mm-hmm. We've now got the regional, so no pressure to get these flights.
Right, no pressure on me to get them all filled.
I know.
I think it's great. And, we do Edinburgh and Glasgow for Scotland, we do Belfast for Northern Ireland, but even going from Newcastle, it's not that far from certain areas within Scotland, so it's a great opportunity.
So there's no excuse for people.
Right, that's what I was saying.
So the regional, for people that don't know, maybe just not all travel people that are listening, the regional flying would be, which we are absolutely all over, is the Glasgow and Edinburgh Barbados service, where it's an exclusive charter to P&O out to Barbados to join the Arvia.
Usually.
And Britannia would be the two ships.
Yep.
And you've got, I always say, the best of the Caribbean.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
It's
and
a 15-day trip.
Yeah, fly straight in.
You go to the British Virgin Islands, which very few cruise ships do.
Yes.
So, and all the big, the usual suspects, St Lucia, Antigua, St Martin.
Yep.
Brilliant. So, it's
fab.
Generally in the winter. Well, it is in the winter.
It is in the winter,
because... Yeah, that's where the Caribbean sunshine is.
Agree.
So literally chase the sunshine.
Chase it away. I think my favourite thing about it is that, because we take the whole plane, you don't have to fly through London or somewhere else, you just go direct. And it's not easy. You wouldn't really get a direct flight from Scotland.
Oh, no, you don't.
To the Caribbean, right, without it. And when you put your luggage in Glasgow or Edinburgh, you fly across, then the bus picks you up from the plane and then takes you from the plane to your ship.
Don't touch your luggage again.
Don't touch your luggage, and it's in your room when you get there. Like, how easy.
That is what it is. It's absolutely easy.
Yeah.
It's a very easy sell for us. And I did notice that you've got one for next Christmas with a Glasgow departure, 18th of December, I believe it is.
Yep.
So why not spend Christmas on board a P&O cruise ship? Easy.
Christmas and New Year, it goes over both, actually. And I think that my favourite thing, I've been on board for so many Christmases. You miss a lot at home, but I love the feeling and the atmosphere. The elves come and they decorate all the ship, and you've got that
and
Christmas
the sun's
feeling.
outside.
Sunshine's outside. Get your Christmas hat on and your bikini in the beach, and Santa still comes when you're at sea. He finds us, and it's just an amazing feeling. And everyone's in such good spirits. And a New Year's party on a ship, there's nothing like it.
I know, because you have fireworks and everything. You've got
it's incredible. Everyone's out open deck. There's multiple parties depending on what you fancy. There's usually an open deck, and in the atrium or piazza, and or they've got the more sometimes silent discos. They've got classical music, depending on what you want. There's a bit of everything.
Something for everybody. Yeah,
absolutely.
But I did notice that date the other day and thought, wow, and it was a really good price as well. So get in touch if anybody wants to go away for Christmas. But let's just talk about the ships. So how many ships have you got in the fleet?
7. One for every day of the week.
Great. Okay, so I was only thinking there was 6. So I've missed one.
Okay.
So we've got Arvia, the big one, which is the newest one.
Yep.
And that takes 5,200 passengers.
You're right.
And then Iona.
Yes, sister.
Okay. And then take me through the rest.
So that's your 2 XL class. Then you've got your 3 in the middle. So you've got your Ventura.
Ventura, I forgot about Ventura. How could I forget about Ventura?
Your Azura and your Britannia, which is your mid-class ships. That has, I think, a bit of modern with a bit of classic combined in those 3. And then you've got your babies, your Aurora and your Arcadia, which offer your adult-only sailing options on them. And usually your longer voyages, your World Cruise and your kind of grand explorations. And I have to say, the World Cruise is flying off the charts. The one for 2028 sold so quickly as soon as we launched it. It's been, there's still some spaces, but not many. It's sold
But
so
I think
quick.
that's, people are thinking, since COVID, now every week we seem to mention the COVID word because it's part of life, isn't it? It's part of our nightmare that we live through. But people are thinking about bucket list experiences, and a world cruise is one of those.
Yep.
So when I retire, I am so doing a world cruise.
Should do.
And I've said that since I was in my 20s. So I absolutely am going to do a 90 to 100 day cruise.
Absolutely. I mean, I've done 4. I'm very lucky.
That's not fair.
I know. I did work
And get paid for it.
I got paid to do 4. Yeah, I did, and I was very lucky to go and see. And the places you can see by doing those is incredible. And even just doing segments of them, it's been able to see these unusual places like South Africa is one of my favourite places in the world. I've been able to sail South Africa, Southampton is such an amazing cruise. But the way the cruisers are on a world cruise is different as well. Everyone becomes a family. You're travelling. Our longest one coming up is 124 days. You're travelling 124 days with the same people,
Same
mostly.
staff, pretty much.
Same staff. You become family, and the customers bring their own hobbies and interests and share them with each other. I did one world cruise where the person was really into like leather making. And he brought all this stuff, and there was they made their own little class of like making placemats and different and bookmarks and stuff, and they were hammering things and making things. And I was like, this is incredible. But there's always like, whatever the hobby is that's going. There might be choir singers, or there might be readers, or there might be knitters, or there might be, I did one where they made a massive quilt over the thing and they gave it to the cruise director. It was really cute.
Lovely.
Of their whole experience, and they just share it and become this fabulous group of friends. It's just a different way of cruising, but a beautiful way of cruising.
I think, with cruising, I look at my own cruising history over the last number of years, and I've met some really amazing friends.
Yes.
Even though I've only maybe spent 10 days with them, you just really click with people.
You do.
And, and thanks to social media now, you can really still
Connect.
interact with these people, and we still go on cruises with these people,
Yes.
that we've met on other cruises, which is lovely. So yeah, it's a very sociable thing.
Very sociable.
And you talked about sectors of the world cruise, and that's something that a lot of people don't think about. So, for example, if you've got a family in Australia, it's a long flight. So why not combine it with a holiday?
100%.
Because a few of my customers will say, I can't believe my family have moved to Australia. I don't want to go to Australia on holiday. Well, great, take a cruise.
Absolutely.
And then finish in Australia, see your grandchildren, and then fly home, or the other way around.
And you're only doing that long flight once.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So there is this, people don't think about sectors of the world
true.
cruise
Yeah.
if they haven't got the full 124 nights.
Well,
which,
only a few people do.
I know. 124 nights is maybe stretching it for me, because in my head I've got less 90 to 100 nights, but you never know.
I think 2027 is only 106, 108, so that's shorter. So,
that might be my year to
there you
retire
go,
then.
Next year.
Next year. Hope the staff aren't listening.
Yeah, but no, it's good, and I think it's an amazing experience to try and get involved in if you can do it.
So the big ships are Arvia and Iona, and then you've got 2 adult-only ships, which is Arcadia and Aurora.
Yes.
And they're smaller ships.
They're smaller, yeah.
They're about 1,800 to 2,000.
you're right.
So, yeah. But again, P&O is not about small ship cruising. No. It's very much the kind of mid to large ship.
Absolutely, yes, it is. And I think that's what the Iona and the Arvia were so popular when we created them, because of the opportunity and the things that they had on board. Did you know that Iona was named after the island of Iona in Scotland?
No, I didn't. There you
go.
go.
When the design behind it was, if you stand anywhere on that island, you can see the sea. So the vision when they created it was that you could see the sea from as many kind of positions and places on board that ship.
Oh, that's a nice story.
Yeah, so the dome on top, that's why you've got that beautiful dome, so you can sit and see outside but still be warm in the Norwegian fjords, for example.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
There you go. So many stories that we
Right?
don't know. And the Britannia obviously was the
Our flagship. Yeah, she was 10 last year, and so we did a big celebration around that. And I think our sales team, that's definitely their favourite ship. They're always advertising and showcasing that ship because they just love her. She's so beautiful. She was designed by a hotel designer, so she's got a different feel masculine look to her when you're inside, but just gorgeous.
And I was on the first sailing after her refurbishment.
Oh, fab.
So
What did you
everything
think?
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So all the carpets and everything were new. And
Oh, lovely.
yeah. It's a big ship though.
Yes.
So you get your steps in.
Oh yes. But you want that. So
Yeah.
you get, the more steps you do, the more desserts you can have.
Exactly. Well, there's no calories in desserts. Did you not know that?
It's true. It's true. I wish that was true.
That's what I tell myself anyway.
I lived on board for 11 years. I wish that was true.
But Britannia was the kind of first brand new ship built for the UK market in a long time. So we're excited for her to come into the market.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be in the naming of the Oriana.
Oh, fantastic.
Which I think was 1995.
Sure.
Yeah, you're too young for that. And it was the Queen that named her.
Oh, beautiful.
And I was able to go in that, which was just a lovely experience.
The naming ceremony is such a special experience. I'm glad you had that. Have you done any other namings?
Yeah, all mostly P&O, because I was so involved working with P&O when I was in my previous life, when I started the Scotland's Cruise Centre. So I got to go in a lot of the naming ceremonies.
Fantastic.
And I've got in my house, it's full of memorabilia.
Oh, I love it.
Cups and saucers, Dalton cups and saucers, and wine decanters or whiskey decanters.
Keep it. That stuff will be worth a fair bit one day,
And I've even got actual ship models as well.
Oh, fantastic.
And they are worth a lot of money.
They are. People really collect them.
They're in pride of place in my office.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, my relationship with P&O does go back a long way, and I have a place in my heart for P&O Cruises. So I love when people who have never cruised start with P&O, because I know their love of cruising is because it happened for me. So
that's such a lovely story. I'm glad that you had that experience with P&O. It's been we've been going 185 years, so probably one of the longest out there. But it's I think it's such a beautiful company to be a part of, to work for, and just be able to share with the people out there to come and enjoy it. And so I really get excited, like you, when new people come and have their first experience. I'm like, how was it? And I want to hear their stories. And I love the connections people make, like you say, the friends they make. And I love the love stories.
There's lots of love stories.
Oh,
yes,
there's so many. I was even just this month, I've done. There was a couple who both lost their partners, went solo cruising, met on board, got married, and I booked their honeymoon with them this month, which was beautiful. I've got a couple of travel agents actually who got married on board last year in the fjords, which was just amazing. I love all those kind of stories, just the connections, of people, places, and at sea. It's just beautiful.
One of my clients went on a solo cruise. Well, she came on a cruise with me, first of all. I hope she's listening to this. She came on a cruise with me after her partner had died, her husband had died, just because she was nervous of doing solo travel. And she fell in love with the chief engineer.
No way.
Yeah, went on to marry him and has travelled the world, gone on lots of world cruises. They're both retired now, living in the Isle of Wight. So I hope she's listening to this. But yeah, so I was responsible for that love story.
Oh, that's so nice. Wouldn't be allowed these days, the passenger crew member.
Oh,
combo.
really?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I shouldn't have said that then.
But it's not like the Love Boat anymore. But no, it's definitely, even some of the crew member stories that you hear together of how they meet. And one of the jobs I did when I was with Princess Cruises was I looked after their wedding programme, and I ran the team who did the weddings on board, and it's such a beautiful thing to be a part of and just see.
Well, we need to have a chat off, because my friends are doing it this year.
Oh.
They're renewing their wedding vows. So
fantastic. Well, we've just launched recently a new updated Celebrations at Sea for Ceremonies at Sea programme and ashore. So we now do weddings in Barbados with P&O Cruises. So you can go and do that beautiful Caribbean cruise we talked about. They have the overnight in Barbados. You get married and then do your honeymoon straight away.
There you go.
I know. What a way to get married.
Do you know what, Isla? We need to get you back on, because we're out of time. I can't believe it. And we did not even scratch the surface.
Absolutely.
It's such a great product.
Yeah.
And so we'll need to do a part 2.
Absolutely, would love to.
And the fact you're in our sol coats makes it...
It makes it easy.
It makes it easy. So we'll get you back on for a part 2.
Fantastic.
So thank you so much for the conversations around P&O. I actually forgot how much I love P&O. So that was so nice. So thank you for joining us on another episode of Let's Talk About Travel, and look forward to more conversations next week.